Golden Radio Hour.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Is he heavy, Matt?
Oh, somehow it was easier carrying him up to your office and back down, Doc.
Where are you going to put me, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, well, on the couch here, I guess. You be all right there, Chester?
Oh, yes, sir. This'll be fine.
Good.
I'm sure sorry I'm so much trouble.
Chester, next time, try to land on just one foot. Even if you break a leg.
I know.
A man's in a terrible fix when he sprains both ankles.
He sure is, Doc. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I know what you're going to do. You're going to stay right there on that couch, and you're going to sleep there, too. Maybe Doc and I'll bring you in something to eat every day or two.
Oh, no.
It's better than you deserve.
I know. I've been saying over and over to myself, Chester, you fool, you.
Well, the wages of sin, Chester. You were lucky to get off as easy as you did. The way I heard it.
Come on, Chester. Tell us what really happened, huh?
But I did tell you. I was looking out this second-story window, admiring the view, so to speak. And the next thing I knew, I fell. That's all right onto the street.
He didn't say whose window, Chester.
In Texas, Doctor, a gentleman don't mention such things.
You ain't in Texas.
Well, sometimes I wish I'd never left.
Like now?
Yes, like now. Many a reputation's been ruined by just such loose talk that you're making, Doc.
Never mind Doc, Chester. He's jealous, that's all.
Oh, jealous? Putting tracks in a man's yard? Not me. Not by a long shot. Why, no, sirree. Oh.
Good morning, Marshal.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
There's Chester. Heard about you, Chester. I heard...
Never mind what you heard, Torp. Chester just got thrown from a horse, that's all.
Yeah.
All right. What is it you want here, gentlemen?
Yeah. All right, you tell him, Summers.
Well, Marshal, it's about tomorrow night.
Oh? So what about tomorrow night?
Well, you know, it's the roundup. The sale season's over. There'll be 1,000 cowboys celebrating in Dodge.
Well, they always do at the end of the season. What about it?
Well, there's going to be more of them this year, and there'll be a lot of homesteaders in town, too. It's going to be worse than ever.
Well, I expect that.
There could be a lot of trouble, Marshal.
Yeah, there could be, Summers. Just what is it you want?
Well, we've talked it over, and we want you to get a lot of good, tough men together, maybe about 20 of them, and deputize them. That way, there won't be any trouble.
Yeah.
That's what you want, is it?
Yes, we do.
Look, Summers, my job's to keep the peace around here, and I'm going to do it, but I'll do it in my own way.
Oh, I know, Marshal.
Now, you
but...
turn 20 deputies loose in that crowd looking for trouble, and they're going to find it. As soon as the wild ones heard about it, they'd bunch up and shoot it out with every one of them. Why, it'd turn into the worst slaughter Dodge's ever seen. I think that's about the most fool idea I ever heard of.
Yeah, no reason for you to talk like that, Marshal. I think it's a good idea. I sure don't want my place wrecked just 'cause you're mule-headed.
You're a gambler, Torp.
So,
So you can take your chances along with everybody else. Now, if you don't want that, then close your place up tomorrow night.
I'll lose all that Texas money? That's not likely.
Now, we're not all gamblers, Marshal. They can wreck my dry goods store just as fast as a gambling house once they get started. And it's up to you.
That's right. It is up to me. And we're going to leave it that way.
Then you won't do anything.
I'll do everything I can.
I don't know, Marshal.
Look, Summers, I know you've got your doubts about me. That's natural. Some people think I'm too lax with Front Street. Some think I'm too severe. But that's the way of it in any town. If a peace officer does his job well, he pleases nobody.
Marshal, we didn't come here for a lecture.
What did you come for, Torp? Maybe you had in mind to help me pick out those deputies. Is that it?
A matter of fact, I could, Marshal.
Yeah, sure. In a couple of hours, yours would be the only tables open for play.
No, that's not what
It's been done before, Torp.
Is that too, Torp?
We're not going to take his word for anything, are you?
I don't know. But anyway, he won't listen to us, so it's his responsibility. Come on, men, let's get out of here. I hope you can handle it, Marshal.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
That Torp is no good. He is just plain no good, Mr. Dillon.
Well, now, I know one man that got skinned at his place, and Torp gave him back $20 so he wouldn't be broke.
Oh? Just how much did this man lose, Doc?
Oh, well, 500-600, they said. Then he... oh, yeah, I see what you mean, man.
I'm sure not going to be much good to you tomorrow night, Mr. Dillon.
You can watch the jail right here, Chester.
I know, but you just got to get somebody to help you out on the street. At least one man, anyway. You can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah, by tomorrow night, Dodge will be overrun with trail boys and homesteaders, all looking for satisfaction. No, I wouldn't ask any man to face that.
I know a few fellows who'd do it, and so do you, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't ask anybody.
How many were killed last year, man?
I don't remember, Doc.
Well, I do. 6, that's what. We buried them all in the saddle blankets, all except one. I remember he didn't even own a blanket.
Why, then he was sure out of luck all the way around, wasn't he? Come on, Doc, let's go get some dinner. Huh?
All right. We'll bring you a piece of bread, Chester. Maybe.
I want a steak. Rare.
How come you're so hungry, Chester? Were you in such a hurry to get over there last night you didn't take time for supper?
Mr. Dillon, I will answer no more questions about last night, and that is final.
Well, we'll bring you something.
Yeah, I don't know if we should, though, Matt. A man can think about his sins better on an empty stomach.
Close the door, will you?
The next morning, I had Mr. Hightower print up some signs for me, with a few rules that I made up for the roundup. They were fair and reasonable, and I hoped they'd be accepted without question. The principal restrictions were that there was to be no shooting and no reckless riding in the streets. That afternoon, I went from saloon to saloon and left a sign at each one. The Texas Trail was my last stop, and there I sat down with Kitty for a short beer.
Town's beginning to fill up, Matt.
Yeah, it'll be swamped to the dashboard by dark.
You, expect trouble tonight?
I always expect trouble, Kitty.
Yeah, I know. Matt, I heard something.
Yeah?
I heard Torp and a few of his men cut cards last night.
So?
I don't know who it came out for, but Low Man is supposed to kill you.
Oh. When?
Tonight, I suppose. Why's Torp after you, Matt?
Torp says he wants an open town, Kitty. But what he's really after is somebody who'll close down every game but his.
Who's this, Matt?
What?
Rough-looking traveler headed this way.
What? Well, I'll be. Why, it's Zell Matlock. Zell!
You old badger, how are you?
Zell, it's been a long time.
Hey,
a long time. Here,
man.
come on over here. Sit down.
Sure.
I'd like for you to meet Kitty. Kitty, this is Zell Matlock. This is Kitty.
How you doing?
man.
Just rode into Dodge an hour ago.
Yeah, it's your first time in it, Zell. Hey, would you like a beer? Huh?
Don't mind.
Good.
I aimed to get drunk tonight, but before I got started, I thought I'd look up their peace officer and shoot him. I'd be sure to tangle with him before the night's out. I always figure it's safer to do it sober. So
He half means that, kid.
So I asked around and found out the man's name is Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. I've seen it all now.
Well, I hope you're not disappointed.
I'll tell you, Miss Kitty, I knew Matt Dillon before he got civilized. Why, we had to tie his leg up to give him a haircut when he came to town.
Don't you believe a word that he says, kid.
Yeah, the wilder the colt, the better the horse, Matt. Mm-hmm. But you was all right. The only trouble with you was that fool honest streak you always had.
Are you rich now, Zell?
Nobody's rich on the Mexican border. Land of sunshine and pinto beans. I hired out to a general over in Chihuahua 3 years ago. I lost 20 pounds and was lucky to get back at all.
Well, haven't you learned to stay out of Mexico yet?
No, I met the man he wanted me to shoot and turned out to be a better fellow than the general. So I told him I'd been hired to kill him and then rode for the border. The general lost 3 soldiers who tried to stop me from swimming the Rio Bravo.
You must be pretty handy with a gun, Zell.
Yeah, just fair, ma'am. But when I take my gun out, I go right ahead and use it. Some people stop and think for half a second.
There's a roundup in Dodge tonight. Matt's handling it alone.
Kitty, what?
Yeah, no, hold it, man. I heard about it. I heard all about it, and that's why I'm here. To say hello and sign on for a night's pleasure. Give me a star, Matt. I've killed on the side of the law before.
I don't believe that, and anyway, I don't want any killings here.
No, I was joshing you, Matt. I know what you want. It's true. I was sheriff in Tascosa for 6 months.
You what?
Yeah, it's in the record. Well, they caught up with me there, but I'd already done such a good job taming the place that the governor pardoned me. I won't kill anybody tonight that don't need killing.
All right, I believe you so. But I won't ask any man to come in when it's as rough as this roundup may be.
Well, you didn't ask me. Any other objection?
Well, the men don't know you around here, Zell. No telling how they'd take to a stranger.
First night I ran Tascosa, nobody knew me either. I'm not green at this business.
Yeah, but it's
Matt.
my job. Why should you get mixed up in it?
Well, I also heard somebody's planning a party for you tonight.
Oh, you did, huh?
I've owed you something for a long time, Matt.
Oh, that's got nothing to do with it.
It has. You got no right not to let me pay it back a little. Now, there's a chance to.
Yeah, you're just as crazy as you ever were.
That's better. Well, come on, let's go find me a badge before it gets dark. Sure nice to have met you, Miss Kitty.
Well, good luck, Zell. I'll see you later, Matt.
Yeah, sure. So long, Kitty.
You sure been a long time coming to Dodge, Mr. Matlock.
What do you mean, Chester?
Well, I've heard Mr. Dillon mention you a lot, but the way he talked, I wasn't never sure you were still alive.
Oh.
Well, I was never sure either, Chester. You know, Zell isn't the most cautious man I ever knew.
You think being a U.S. Marshal isn't asking for an early grave, man?
Oh, maybe. But at least it's a way to do some good before you die. Whether folks think so or not.
You know, men like Torp, that's all.
Oh, no, Chester. Even good men have got a strange twist that makes them suspect any man paid to handle the bad element. Hey, you just can't help thinking that some of its dirt is rubbed off on him.
And I never thought about that before, Matt. Sure how it was in Tascosa. They wanted me there all right, but they wanted me to keep my distance, too. It makes a man kind of lonely.
They just don't know what's good for him, that's all. Instead of a real lawman, they'd rather hire some killer with a lot of notches carved on his gun.
Well, there are plenty of them around.
You sure are. Bragging kind. I never did like a man who has to notch his gun to keep his courage up.
Yeah.
My goodness. Look yonder. The street's about full already and it isn't even dark yet.
Yeah. Zell, give me a hand here, will you? We'll move Chester's couch away from the window there.
All right.
There, that should do it. Yeah, you'll be safer here, Chester, in case somebody gets it in mind to shoot up the jail.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. I can watch both doors from here. Just hand me my gun belt, if you will.
Oh, yeah. There you are. Well, come on, Zell. Chester, I'll get somebody at the Dodge House to fetch up some supper, huh?
Thank you, sir. And good luck, both of you.
So long,
I
Chester.
see you, Chester. Well, how will we work it, Matt?
I tell you, Zell, you take this side of the street. I'm going up to the Dodge House, and then I'll be on the other side somewhere.
All right. Oh, say, you mind if I go back later and get that Spencer carbine of yours? Make a mighty handy club if I don't have to use it any other way.
Sure, it's yours, Zell.
Who they got there? That fella on their shoulders.
Oh, that's Mr. Hightower. He runs the printing press here.
Shall we stop it?
Oh, no. They're just carrying him into the Longhorn to make him stand some drinks.
Oh.
They like Hightower. They won't hurt him.
Well, I guess that sort of officially opens this here roundup, huh?
Yeah, I guess it does. Well, I'll leave you here, Zell.
Yeah, sure, man.
And, Zell, I want to thank you for what you're doing tonight.
I ain't done nothing yet, but I'll do plenty if someone shoots you in the back. I can promise that.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you later.
Sure, Matt.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, Sunday nights, you are cordially invited to Escape via CBS Radio. Yes, every weekend for drama that will take you right out of this world. Listen for Escape at the Star's address. Also, tomorrow evening, CBS Radio brings you Lionel Barrymore on your Sunday night playhouse. Now, for the second act of Gunsmoke.
When I came out of the Dodge House, Front Street was so full that if anybody had been shot, the crowd would have carried him along like one of the living. I had a feeling that the word was out about Torp and his bunch cutting cards to see who would make a try for me, and that the crowd knew it and was waiting for it. I stood for a while with my back against Summers' dry goods store. Then I left the street and cut down an alley, thinking to change my position with as much irregularity as possible. I was passing the back door of the Texas Trail when I heard the first shot of the night. I entered the saloon from the rear and made my way into the crowd.
It's all right, Marshal. There's no fight.
It's not all right, Sam. I made a rule that there'd be no shooting for any reason. All right. Who fired that shot?
Oh, it's outside. It was Torp, Marshal. He just took a shot at the moon, that's all.
Yeah. All right, Torp. Put the gun away and come over here.
I'm bothering nobody, Marshal, excepting maybe you. Stand back, everybody.
I said that's enough, Torp.
No, it ain't, Dillon. This time I got the jump on you. You ain't pushing me no more.
Torp's bullet just grazed my arm. Then I put one in his head and another in his chest. And at the same time, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure with a gun in each hand move out of the shadow of the alley and turn toward me on the boardwalk. And without really looking, I dropped him with one shot. And then I faced the crowd and waited for the next move. But for some reason, none came.
Marshal,
Yes, Summers.
that man you just shot, Marshal.
Torp got what he deserved.
Yes, I know. It's the other one that
So did he.
Marshal, you'd better go take a look at that man. He's dying.
Who is he?
I don't know him, Marshal, but you do.
What?
He's wearing a star.
No. No. Oh, Zell. Zell.
Matt, I think that did it.
No, so. No.
It's my fault. I crossed the street a while back. Left the carbine with Chester. It's no fault of yours.
Matt? There you are. Oh, Matt. How is he? Oh, goodness.
No use, Doc. Thanks.
So, I
Now,
didn't...
listen. Listen to me, Matt. You did right. And only thing you could do. It was my fault. I shouldn't have crossed over and come up behind you. Anyway, Matt, I ain't been living on my own time ever since that day you pulled me out of the mob in Alamogordo. I never thanked you for that. Guess I never will now. Matt, so long.
I'll find someone to carry him over to your office, Matt.
No. I'll carry him.
Never mind them, Matt. They're just windbags.
Mr. Dillon, what happened? I heard the shooting.
Put a blanket on the floor there, Doc.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, spread it out right here. He's dead, Chester.
Well, who shot him, sir?
I shot him, Chester. I didn't know it was him.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dillon.
It sounds like they're going to hoorah the town after all, Matt.
Sure does.
No, they're not.
It's going to be kind of hard to stop now, isn't it, Matt?
Maybe.
You taking a shotgun, Mr. Dillon?
Matt, why don't you just let them fight each other?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to close Front Street.
You're going to close... Oh, no,
The
what?
party's over in Dodge.
Mr. Dillon, you can't do that.
There'll be trouble if I don't. The mob's tasted blood now.
They'll shoot you sure as I'm a-laying here.
Will they?
All right, I can't stop you, but I sure do wish I could go with you.
Yeah, Matt, I'll go. Maybe if they see me, they won't be so quick.
Thanks, but this isn't your job, either one of you, but thanks. Sam,
Yeah, Marshal?
close up and turn out your lights.
What?
You heard me! Now listen to me! Front Street's closed. Now get out of here and go home, all of you.
My home is in Texas, mister.
If you ever had one.
I ain't going home tonight. Not tonight, I ain't.
Don't interfere, fella. You got no chips in this deal.
I could buy in, mister.
Now I'll use this shotgun for what it was meant on the next man. Well? All right, Sam, close it up.
Yes, sir.
Jack,
What do you want, Marshal?
the street's closed. Put out your lights.
Huh?
You heard me. Lock the place up.
No, I ain't going to do it.
Now, don't tell me what you're going to do.
All right, boys. We're closing up.
That took care of the Texas Trail and the Longhorn. And I moved on through the Oasis and the Olafraganza, then to the smaller bars that infested the outskirts of town. When I came back up Front Street, the crowd had thinned, its fever broken. I'd left Torp's place for the last. thinking to give his men a chance to get out of town before they face me. There was a gambling hall on the same side of the street as the jail. And when I reached it and entered, there weren't more than a dozen men there. And most of them stepped quietly past me out into the street. What was left didn't seem to count for much.
Looking for somebody, Marshal?
You a friend of Torp's?
Well, yes, I was. Why?
Who else here worked for Torp?
Everyone's gone, Marshal. They heard you were all riled up and they left.
And you're alone. And still in bad company.
I wouldn't ordinarily take that.
Well, go ahead, mister. You're calling it.
No. Not now.
What's stopping you? Oh, if it's the shotgun. Now, does that make it easier for you?
I haven't been looking for you, Marshal.
You were in on the cut, weren't you?
Torp's dead, Marshal. Isn't that enough?
Torp! Mister, one of the best men I ever knew died tonight. And I killed him.
I'm not a gunman, Marshal. You wouldn't be proud killing me.
What does a man like you know about pride? Now, you get out of Dodge, and you get out fast.
But I don't...
You want to die in this place right now?
No. No, I'm leaving.
All right, hurry. The rest of the night, I walked the dark, empty street alone. And just before dawn, I got a spring wagon and loaded Zell onto it. A couple of hours later, I buried him out by the Arkansas in a little grove of cottonwoods. Maybe I should have put a marker on his grave, but I didn't. What I did instead, I did partly out of scorn for the kind of men Zell said have to notch their guns to keep their courage up. And partly as a kind of a cross that I'd bear from now on. So instead of a marker on his grave, I took out my gun. And I cut a single notch on it.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Boehner and Harry Bartell, with Lawrence Dobkin, Lou Krugman, and James Nusser. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Listen to CBS Radio for Spring Byington as December Bride. And say, after you hear December Bride tomorrow night, listen for the important announcement about its new night and time on CBS Radio. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, Amos and Andy are here every Sunday on the CBS Radio Network. West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
It's a cold morning, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I'm ready for spring, Chester. The tail end of winter always gets on my nerves.
Well, it shouldn't be long now. The worst of it's bound to be over.
Well, I hope so. Here, let's try Delmonico's here, huh?
I'm always ready to eat, Mr. Dillon.
Morning, Matt. Chester.
Oh, hi, Kitty.
How about joining me, huh?
Well, thank you. You pull up a chair, Chester.
Yes, sir.
You're up early this morning, Matt. Usually you don't even start breathing till noon.
It's too cold to sleep, Kitty. That jail stove always burns itself out about 5 o'clock in the morning. From then on, you just have to...
Oh, what is it, Matt?
Chester, that second table from the window over there. Those 3 men there, do you know them?
No, sir, I don't think I do.
Well, I do. Ran into them about 4 years ago out in Arizona territory. That's the Pueblo gang. Never heard of them coming this far east before. Well...
You want some help, Mr.
No, just sit tight, Chester.
Matt?
Order me some sausage and buckwheat cakes, Kitty, will you? I'll be right back.
I don't want to stay in this town. I don't like it at all. But go ahead.
Morning, boys. It's the Parks brothers, isn't it? Ed and Rio. And Chuck Evans.
Well, what about it?
Easy, Rio.
It's Dillon, the U.S. Marshal, the one I told you about.
Yeah, I bet you did. What'd you tell him, Chuck?
Look, Dillon, our food's getting cold. You got something on your mind or not?
Nothing important, Rio. I figure it's quite an honor to have the Pueblo gang in town. I just thought I'd drop over and tell you how I felt about it.
And how do you feel?
Well, that depends, Ed. Are you boys here on business or pleasure?
Does it make a difference?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a difference. I know your reputation west of here. Half the stage holdups in the last 5 years from Colorado to the California border can be laid right at your door. But as far as I know, you're clean in Dodge City so far.
Now, look,
all right, you just keep it that way. You make one move here and your time's up. Right then, you're short and I'll take you, all 3 of you. You understand?
Sure, we understand. We'll think it over, Dillon. Let you know what we decide to do.
Rio, you talk too much. Now, see you around, boys. You can put the gun away now, Chester.
All right. I was just going to be ready in case.
Matt, I thought I'd tell you. Those boys are mean. They were in the Texas Trail last night. They're just downright mean.
Yeah, I know.
What do we do, Mr. Dillon? Run them out of town?
Not unless they give us some reason to, Chester.
Yes, sir.
The law doesn't say you can hang a man because he might steal a horse. Yeah, forget it. Let's eat, huh?
Our old train just about ready to pull out, looks like.
Yeah, it's on time. It's 3 o'clock.
Be in St. Louis tomorrow night, Chicago the next day.
If the engine holds up.
Well, they don't break down so much anymore. They're getting them worked out so they're pretty dependable.
Yeah, I guess so.
You ever get a hankering to take a trip back east, Mr. Dillon, just to see how things have changed?
Not me, Chester. I've been on the frontier too long. I'd be lost back there. I wouldn't know how to act.
I guess a man could get his rope kinked over which fork to use or what to do.
Matt. What? Oh, hi, Will. You down watching your competition pull out?
There'll be a stagecoach running for a long time to come yet. Railroad's not bothering me any.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Something else is, though.
No?
Matt, the stage from Buckeye is more than 2 hours overdue. I'm getting a little worried.
Well, why? It's usually late, isn't it?
Not on this particular day of the month.
Oh, what's the day particular?
Gold dust.
Oh.
This is the day those placer mines out there always ship their cleanup. Charlie's never missed getting it here at 3 o'clock on time for the eastbound Santa Fe. Not once.
Who's riding shotgun, Will?
Houston Jack.
He's a good man. I doubt if there's any cause to worry.
That shipment runs $80,000 or $100,000 sometimes, Matt. Never been late before.
Oh, Charlie will probably roll in any minute now. We'll see you later, Will.
So long. What do you think, Mr. Dillon?
Same as you do, Chester. Let's ride out and meet that stage.
I still think I heard a horse went in, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I thought I heard it, too.
We must be an hour and a half from town the way the stage runs. He sure is late, all right.
I hope late is all it is, Chester. I hope it's not...
There it is again, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, it came from that draw over there, somewhere around that sumac thicket. Come on. Come on.
Look, Mr. Dillon, wheel tracks leading off the trail.
Yeah. Running at a dead gallop and out of control. It's like... Well, Chester, there's the stage.
I don't see any sign of life, Mr. Dillon.
Let's take a look.
There's tracks all around. Must have been 3 or 4 horses here.
3, the way I'm figuring it. I'll lay any odds you want that this is some of the...
That's Houston Jack, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Shot in the back of the head. And they didn't take any chances. He must have ridden up behind the stage and fired without any warning. That's probably what spooked the horses and started to run away. Yeah, they shot the lead horse. It's an old trick.
Charlie's still up here on the box. They got him, too. That strong box has been forced open. It's empty.
All right, Chester, let's cut these horses loose and get them out of the traces, huh?
Right, sir.
Come on now, boy. It's the same way they used to work it out west. Shoot the guard in the back and let the team run until they're far enough off the trail and then kill the lead horse to stop them.
You mean that Pueblo gang?
Yeah, who else? Oh. That's a good thing there wasn't any passengers. They'd have got the same treatment. All right, there you go, boy.
I think there were some passengers, Mr. Dillon. One, at least.
What?
There's a couple of trunks tied on top and a carpet bag of some kind inside the stage.
Here, let's have a look. Well, the only bodies are the guards and the drivers.
Say, maybe one of the gang was riding as a passenger.
They wouldn't leave trunks behind it.
What is it?
There's stuff in the carpet bag. Belongs to a woman.
There's no woman here?
Yeah, I know.
Well, then they must have taken her.
Yeah. It's almost dark. Come on, Chester, let's try to pick up their trail.
It's just no use going any farther, Mr. Dillon. It's too dark to tell what we're doing.
Well, they were heading towards the river here. Let's take a look through these willows, and if we don't find anything, then we'll ride on back to town.
All right, sir.
I still keep getting a faint whiff of wood smoke from somewhere.
I sure wish we would find the fire. It's getting colder in the...
Wait a minute. Look over there.
Well, I'll swear. It's fire, all right. Or what's left of one, Mr. Dillon. You suppose they're still
I don't
there?
know. Let's leave the horses here and go up on foot, huh?
All right, sir.
Well, there's nothing moving. No signs of life.
They couldn't have left too long ago. That fire would have burned itself out.
Well,
I'd say we're too late, Mr. Dillon. I think they've gone.
yeah, looks that way, all right. Yeah, half hour or an hour ago. Made a fast camp, stayed long enough to warm up, and then they went.
What was that?
I don't know. They're over here, Chester. There's somebody lying on the ground over there.
Help me. Help me, please.
Here. Throw some brush on the fire, Chester.
Yes, sir.
No, it's all right, miss. It's all right now.
3 of them. Robbed the stage. Killed the driver and the guard. Brought me with them.
Anything I can do, Mr. Dillon?
No, Chester, I'm afraid not. For the love of it. Chester, get some light over here. Grab one of those branches that's caught fire.
Mr. Dillon, just a second.
Easy now, ma'am. Just easy now. It's going to be all right.
I pleaded with them. Begged them to let me go.
Here. This help any?
Yeah, hold it over here. Helen.
But they wouldn't. They wouldn't let me go.
Helen Ford.
And when they left, they drew their guns and shot me.
Easy now.
They shot me.
You know who they were? Helen? Helen, can you hear me?
One named Rio. One called Chuck. They sat on their horses. Shot me. Then they laughed.
She's in awful bad shape, Mr. Dillon. We ought to get her to doc.
Shot me. And laughed. But it didn't matter. Not that. No.
Well, I guess it's too late now.
Yeah, it's too late. I'll carry her back to Dodge. Get me your saddle blanket, will you, Chester?
You knew her, Mr. Dillon?
A long time ago. Then things happen the way they do. Later, she married Bill Ford and went out to Colorado. It's a long time ago. I didn't expect I'd ever see her again.
It's a bad thing, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to see him hang for it.
We will return. We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, everybody's got a heart. That's a plenty solid reason for everybody to support with generous contributions the annual fund drive of the Heart Campaign. Don't forget, what your money pays for is aimed at making the sick well and keeping the well from getting sick. Support the Heart Campaign again this year. Now for the second act of Gunsmoke.
Over here, Chester. We'll check the livery stable first.
Yes, sir.
They could have pulled out, of course, but I'll lay odds they came straight back into town.
It won't take long to find out.
Now, let's go in.
Who's there? Who is it?
It's Matt Dillon. Is that you, Mr. Kelvin?
Oh, yeah, sure is, Marshal. Here, let me get a lantern lit. I'm just fixing to lock up the stable and go over and grab myself a bite to eat. Running things alone again tonight. The confounded boy didn't show up. Like he's not drunk and seen... There. Now, come on, Marshal. We got a fire going back in the office. Come on back. Set us.
I'd like to, Kelvin, but we don't have time. I'm looking for some horses.
Well, I got 'em, Marshal. You want to buy, trade, or hire?
Just look.
Yeah.
There are 3 fellows staying over at the Dodge House. They've been there about a week. Ed and Rio Parks and Chuck Evans. They're keeping their horses here.
Yeah, they are, right back here. And if I ever saw a ruination of good horse flesh, this is it. There. Take a look there. That one belongs to the oldest Parks boy, Ed, and the one next to it's Rio's.
They've been rode, Mr. Dillon. They've been rode plenty.
Yeah. What time they come in, Kelvin?
Well, about an hour ago, more or less. They're gone since forenoon, just come back a little while ago. Look at that horse. Been rubbed down twice. He's still wet.
They didn't say where they'd been, did they?
No, not them. They ain't the talking kind. Just left their horses and went on over to the hotel. Well, wherever they was, though, they must have been riding like the devil himself was chasing them.
Well, maybe he was. Thanks, Mr. Kelvin.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess there's not much doubt of it, Chester.
No, sir. It was them, all right.
And I could have stopped it before it happened. A man shouldn't be jailed on suspicion, I figured, just because he might do something wrong.
Well, my. Everybody has to play it the way he sees it.
Yeah, only sometimes you can see it a lot plainer afterward.
What are we going to do?
Go get him, that's all.
Well, where do we start looking?
The Texas Trail. Oh, one thing, Chester, before we go in. Now, you leave the play on this to me, huh? Just keep me covered, that's all.
Mr. Dillon, what was her name before she was married?
Marlowe. Helen Marlowe. All right, come on, let's go.
Well, it was a real dull evening up until now. How are you, Matt? Chester?
Hi, Miss Kitty.
Kitty. I'm looking for the Pueblo gang. Have any of them been in here?
Why, yeah. One of them's here now. Leo Parks. He's over there at the faro table.
Oh?
Well, what's wrong, Matt? What happened?
Now, they held up the Buckeye stage. Killed Charlie and Houston Jack. And a passenger. A woman. Helen Ford.
Ah.
All right, Chester.
Oh, be careful, Matt.
Yeah, sure, Kitty. Just cover me, Chester. That's all.
Yes, sir.
500 says I've got the car. That's too much for me. Are you going to cover me or not? What's the matter? You all a bunch of pikers?
Maybe they haven't been out robbing stagecoaches, Rio.
What do you mean by that?
Maybe they don't make their living by killing women.
Dillon, a man could get in trouble shooting off his mouth that way.
You're already in trouble. All right, boys, Rio's checking in his hand. The game's over. You can slide out at the end of the table over there. You're under arrest for murder, Rio.
Don't know what you're talking about, Dillon.
Murder. A murder that you're going to hang for. Now, where are the other 2?
Go find them if you want them.
I'm going to as soon as I finish with you. I said you're under arrest, Rio. Now get your hands up.
Supposing I don't, Dillon.
You're not going to make any play. You don't have the guts. Shooting a man in the back is more your line, Rio. You're killing a woman. Now get your hands up. That's better. All right, Chester, get his gun.
like it's getting colder, Mr. Dillon.
Clear as a bell, though. Look at that moon.
Where do you suppose they are? You've been in nearly every saloon on Front Street.
I don't know, Chester, but wherever they are, we're going to find them.
And you know something, Mr. Dillon? When we do arrest the other two, they're as good as hung with the evidence we got on them.
I haven't arrested them yet.
Maybe them other two won't be taken as easy as Rio.
That's up to them. If they want to surrender, they can. I've never shot a man with his hands up. Chester.
Huh?
Ben's barber shop over there. The man that he's shaving.
It's kind of hard to tell with all that lather on.
No, it's Ed Parks. Come on.
And there's just him and Ben in the shop. I wonder where Chuck Evans is.
We'll worry about him later.
Just help yourselves to a seat, gentlemen. Be ready for you just as soon as... evening, Marshal.
How you been? I didn't know you were in the habit of shaving outlaws.
Maybe you're mistaken, Marshal. You just have a seat there, and...
No, I recognize him, all right. It's Ed Parks.
Looks like you got the advantage of me, Dillon.
Well, we can't have that, Ed. Wipe the lather off his face, Ben.
Yes, sir. Sure thing, Marshal. Just a second now, Mr. Parks. There you are.
It's too bad you have to leave that shave half-finished, Ed. But they'll give you a free one just before they hang you.
What are you talking about, Dillon?
Now, gentlemen...
Ed, you're under arrest for murder. Get your hands up. Your brother's waiting for you at the jail.
You arrested Rio?
What about the hands, Ed? Are you going to put them up?
No dirty kid!
That was a fast move for a barber, Ben.
I knew he had a gun under the towel, Marshal, but of course I couldn't say anything about it.
Well, thank you, Ben. And if you'll send the bill for your shaving mug to the stage company, they'll probably take care of it for you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Chester, spill some water on him. I want him to walk to jail.
I'll bet Chuck Evans got clean away, Mr. Dillon. The word must have got to him.
Well, he had to do it awful fast. The clerk said he checked out of the hotel less than 10 minutes ago. Kelvin? The light must hurt his eyes. He never keeps a lantern burning.
Afraid of fire, maybe.
Kelvin? Are you there, Kelvin?
Yes. Yeah, what's wrong? Who is it?
Matt Dillon.
Oh.
Strike a light. A man could fall over something in this stable and break his neck.
All right. I just don't get excited. I'm used to it myself. I know just where everything is and don't see any point in wasting oil when Now, what's on your mind, Marshal?
Chuck Evans. Is his horse still here?
Yes, indeed. It most certainly is. As a matter of fact, he's back there saddling up right now.
Good.
I told him it seemed like a fool time of night to start out on a trip. You can't reason with anybody that treats horses the way that bunch does.
I guess not.
Calvin!
But... Well, go on, answer him.
Yes? What is it?
Give me a hand back here, will you?
Tell him yes.
All right. I'm coming.
What's this all about, Marshal?
Nothing to get yourself worked up about. Just stay right here and stay out of the way. All right, Chester.
Yes, sir. He's got a lantern back there at the stall.
Yeah. Now, you were right about one thing, Chester. He's trying to leave town.
Give me a hand with this, Kelvin. I can't seem to get the...
You going somewhere, Chuck?
Now, look, Dillon. You got nothing on me. Lay off.
The Parks boys are in jail.
I don't know anything about it, Dillon. You can't prove a thing, and you can't shoot me. I'm not even wearing a gun. It's hanging there on the saddle horn.
Yeah. So I see.
If the other boys did something, I don't know anything about it.
You're a liar, Chuck. And you're a coward.
You've got no call to talk like
Shut up. Now, you're under arrest. Chester, get his gun off his saddle.
Look out, Mr. Dillon. He's got another gun.
I'll kill you, Dillon. Say, help me.
You're scared, Chuck. You're too scared to shoot straight.
Help me.
Well, I guess that does it, Chester. Come on.
What is it, Marshal? What happened?
Evans is dead. The Parks boys are going to hang. You're short 3 customers, Kelvin.
Well, who's going to pay the stable bill?
The stable bill? You got their horses. Sell them.
Oh, yeah, I never thought of that. Well, it serves them right. Anybody that would treat a horse the way that bunch did, Davis. I guess it's over, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, it's over, Chester.
And it's just as well. This country would be a lot better off with them fellas dead than alive.
I guess so.
Even the moon looks brighter.
Yeah.
Mr. Dillon, you're still thinking you should have jailed him on suspicion, aren't you?
No, I'd have half a Dodge in jail if I started that. No, Chester, it's the kind of a chance a lawman has to take.
Yes, sir.
Whether he likes it or not.
Yes, sir.
But I'm not liking it much right now. In the morning, I'm going to have a talk with the preacher about holding a service for Helen. It's about all I can do for her now.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was especially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Tom Tully, Paul Dubov, John Daner, Harry Bartell, and Louise Lewis. Parley Bear is Chester, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Godfrey. Yes, starting tomorrow on most of these same CBS radio stations, there will be more Arthur Godfrey and his gang, presented by CBS Radio for our Sunday listeners. Folks who are regular Arthur Godfrey fans know there's been a 30-minute roundup of Arthur Godfrey time Sundays at the Star's address. But starting tomorrow, there'll be 30 minutes more with Arthur Godfrey and all the wonderful Arthur Godfrey gang. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, Lionel Barrymore's your host on the Sunday Night Playhouse on the CBS Radio Network.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.